this initial stuff out. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. It was really exciting to be in there this morning and see that you were into airplanes now.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday when we started the questions, they were really into like thinking of stuff, and a lot of them, I mean, it was cool to see because when we started like doctors last time, I was like, who has a question? And it was just like blank stares. So when I asked who had a question, like 3 hands went up and they had actual questions. So
wow.
It was cool.
So how do you think you got them to that point?
I mean, the project last time helped a lot because we had so many visitors come and we went so many places, or we went to the place and they kept having questions and they saw me write down their questions. So they knew like, oh, what I'm thinking is important. If I don't know something, it's okay. Because I think before they were just like wanting to state facts. Because before I was really only asking them to be like, who knows this? And so then now that they know I can ask them, what don't you know? They actually know how to answer to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think you did teach them to ask questions when you gave them the opportunity, for one thing. And then when you would say, I wonder about this, or I'm curious about that.
Yeah, and like Yanis, when I was like, who has a question? Yanis was like, well, I'm wondering. It's like, okay.
He actually said that?
Yeah, he's like, I'm wondering where they get the fuel from. And I was like, that's great. Let's write that down.
Wow. Oh, thank you, Yanis. That was great. Yeah, that was perfect. That's great. So how do you know, do you feel like airlines or airplanes or whatever this is going to be is going to stick?
I think the books today helped a lot because they had a lot of questions from the books that I got from the library yesterday. Just looking at them and wondering what's happening. I'm a little worried because before that, when I was we were messing around with it and I put all the stuff in dramatic play, most of the stuff I could find from the school were just like little suitcases and that one big suitcase.
Yeah.
And something that we're pretending is a steering wheel. So whenever they go over there, they have a pretend pilot, but mainly the pilot's like, who wants to go somewhere? And they're like, I want to go to Legoland. They pack their lunch in the pretend suitcase, and the pilot flies them to Legoland. So
nice. I
don't know if they're into travel or if they're only doing that because that's all we have over there.
Right. So what kind of things are you thinking of adding to there?
Well, now that they've seen a picture of a cockpit, I think it'd be really cool if they could make one.
Yes.
So I'm going to try and print out like a big picture of it because the iPad is very small.
Yeah, and you've got that picture from your dad.
Yeah, I have like the nice photo of it. So I think that'll help. And then I know Sarah said she wants to make tickets. I think that'll help.
I heard that this morning.
So I think once, they look at more books and think of more things that they might need, we can try and keep going. And maybe if we had like a little stand, because a lot of them were really into being the security guard, like the TSA agent, that might help.
You could process that with them in a small group. What could we do to set it up to look like this?
Yeah.
To look like the TSA agent picture that you showed them this morning.
Yeah.
Those pictures that you had of Carla's son taking the trip.
Claudia's son?
Claudia's son were just perfect.
I know. And especially because she didn't know we needed them. Just taking them for herself.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. So you've got your topic. And now you also had questions, I saw. Do you think the questions were ones that are going to lead you into a real project?
I think so. Because, my dad is coming on, he's a pilot, so he's coming to talk on Friday.
Oh, he's coming Friday.
Yes. Great. And he will be able to answer a lot of those questions, but I don't think he'll be able to answer all of them. So I think we'll be able to push past him visiting and say, like, how else can we figure this out?
Oh, good.
And someone's already mentioned, I want to go see an airplane. So
yeah,
if we can maybe get to like the downtown airport.
I was just thinking they have a flight museum there.
Well, there we go. And I know Alexa has a friend who works the tower there.
At the downtown airport? Wow.
So she said she could get in contact with him for us, and that would be perfect.
Yeah. I don't know whether they'll let you in there just because
of FAA
regulations. But if he could come talk
or like take pictures of it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That would be really wonderful. So where do you think you are in the phases?
Probably like right at the beginning of phase 2, just because we have questions. In phase 1, they played with it a little bit. Maybe we're still like in the middle somewhere. But I think the questions started putting us into phase 2 because now we're going to go about answering those questions.
Right. And you said you had predictions also.
We got the predictions and we webbed what we know.
Yeah. Have you done your anticipatory web?
No. That's what I need to do.
Okay, well that might be something
I was missing.
It's always good to find something. That might be something we can work on then to see where you think it's going to go. Because like you mentioned, is it going to be the travel aspect? Was it going to be the airplane aspect?
Once they got into their questions, a lot of their questions were about the parts of an airplane, how you fly an airplane, how an airplane, like how it can fly itself. And then once they were looking at the different kinds of airplanes, like Eddie wanted to know how a glider can fly, even though because he saw pictures of the people running, and how that one you can't run with it, and there's no engine. So how does that work? So the difference between planes, things like that. So I think looking at the books, they're looking more at planes. So maybe that'll change their dramatic play. I don't know. We'll just have to see kind of where it goes in the terms of that.
And you can teach them the term aerodynamics and big words like that.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.